This episode is brought to you by Kia's first 3-row all-electric SUV, the Kia EV9, with available all-wheel drive and seating for up to 7 adults, with a 0 to 60 speed that thrills you 1 minute and available reclining lounge seats that unwind you the next. Visit kia.com/EV9 to learn more. Ask your Kia dealer for availability. No system, no matter how advanced, can compensate for all driver error and or driving conditions. Always drive safely.
Join me, 48 Hours correspondent Erin Moriarty, on my podcast, My Life of Crime, as I take on true crime investigations like no other. This season, I'm looking into the labyrinth of crime and secrets within families. I'm cutting straight to the evidence and talking to the people directly involved, including investigators and the families of victims. Listen to My Life of Crime with Erin Moriarty wherever you get your podcasts.
This is a Rogue Media Network podcast.
Boobies! Boobies!
Hi.
Hello, and welcome to
Boobies.
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 That's right. There we go. I was like, something feels weird as it came out of my mouth.
We were building up the echo, the vibrato. Here once again to talk about some spooky, spectacular horror film.
Yeah, spooky.
This one brought to you from the Conjuring universe.
Yes. Which I hadn't seen it.
This
but
one.
Yeah,
of
I've
course.
seen The Conjuring and all the Conjuring iterations, but not this one in particular.
So kind of like a spinoff, right? Because we get the return of Valak. The demon nun from
the Defiler, the Profane.
The Marquis of Snakes. Is it the King of Snakes or Marquis? Marquis? What's a Marquis? Is like a sign, isn't it?
Yeah.
A sign of Valak on the I guess like an what's it called? Not a creation story, but like an origin story.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, kind of how where Valak originated
and how it came into the paths of
the Warrens.
Well, Warrens, Elizabeth Warren.
Lorraine.
I know, I'm just kidding.
Okay. I was like, Miss Lorraine.
No, Elizabeth Warren's that one lady.
I have a doll named after Lorraine.
Cute. Is she the one that moves?
That's Annabelle. Well, Annabelle and Lorraine, they are the ones that get knocked over. But I think that's from the Kitties. But they were the ones that the other day watching. What did we watch last?
The Evil Dead Rise.
Evil Dead Rise. What did we watch before
Case
that?
39.
Case 39.
Before that one?
Why was I afraid of dolls in my house for some reason? Oh, TikToks.
Oh, okay.
I was watching.
Like,
I was on horror TikTok, and I was watching. There was someone with dolls in it, and then I looked over, and they had both fallen over, and I was like,
"Oh, that's a sign."
I was like, I don't want to touch them right now.
At that point, they're just messing with you.
Yeah, probably. Beatrice is the one that I had the dream about that moved. The one that whenever I asked her if she liked her name, and she nodded her head yes, and that's all the dream was.
Dolls, yeah. But I mean, generally, you're okay with dolls. It's just because the TikToks.
Yeah,
you love dolls. Yeah. I mean, whenever I go to your place, the dolls don't really creep me out per se. I don't think I've ever got that.
Bad vibes.
Yeah. Or phobias of dolls, because I also had, I had a friend growing up who was pretty afraid of dolls. Like I haven't spoken to her in a while, so I'm sure she's probably still afraid of them. But like a phobia, you know what I mean? Like really, really afraid of them.
Yeah.
Like, like even to where like certain masks that kind of resemble that aren't porcelain like doll masks, but like kind of look like it.
Would scare her.
She was like, nah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Couldn't be me.
But yes, so The Nun, you guys, released in 2018.
18. Directed by Corin Hardy. or Corin Hardy.
I think Corin, but I'm not sure.
What a weird way to spell Corin.
If we are mispronouncing it, sorry. But yeah,
I'm not.
starring Thaisa Farmiga, who is Vera Farmiga's younger sister. From who plays Lorraine in the Conjuring universe. So
they do look rather similar. I wasn't sure if it was a sister situation or a daughter situation.
Keeping it all in the family. But yeah, and then we also have had you seen the priest in anything before? Because he had that face where I was like, I feel like I've seen you before, but I can't place it.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know, but it's very centered around. It's literally just basically 3 characters for the most part of the movie.
Yeah, we got Frenchie,
the nuns, kind of, but not really.
Sister
Olga.
Irene, Ona,
yeah,
or Oana. No, Ona.
It's in the notes, but I think Ona is more
it's
on it.
It's spelled Oana, according to my closed captioning.
I think she was saying it as Ona. Yeah, but yeah, I'm gonna get into it. Deep dive. We start off and we're looking into a vision that Miss Lorraine Warren had of Ed's death, and we're kind of getting that recap of what transpired in The Conjuring 2 and Miss Lorraine Warren's encounters with Phallic, like in her home with her daughter, and then whenever she was everything that happened, we kind of get a little recap of sorts, and then we get a quick
saying like the demon in the painting is real kind of thing. So it was a really, really fast recap.
Yeah, it was literally like a minute and a half, maybe.
Where they just kind of flashed all the important scenes from The Conjuring 2, and we're like, here you go. Recap, except for without the infield poltergeist part. Just the Phallic part.
The Phallic,
which was an odd addition.
Which also because that
story.
Because they were like almost like driving 2 narratives at the same time.
Yeah, which was the whole issue with The Conjuring 3. The Devil Made Me Do It.
Which was like multiple.
That was like 5 stories.
Yeah.
And that they were trying to complete all in one, and they should have just left it alone.
We had the Arnie trial, the witch cult
daddy
Avenue daddy thing. Oh yeah. So much. But yes.
So much.
And then we literally just go back in a time machine, and we are in 1952.
At the Abbey of St. Carta Romana.
This is 20 years before the events that happen in the Conjuring 2, which we pick up later. But yeah, that's just to see like the time of reference where we're at.
Or the Conjuring 1.
Conjuring 1? Oh, okay.
Well,
yes. Yeah, you're right. I'm so sorry. Yes. You are right. Yeah, because that's where they end up at the end.
Yeah.
But
which I was like, ooh, so clever.
Full circle.
Yeah. I'd be curious to go back and watch The Conjuring 1 to see if it is the same guy or if they just like
they probably recast it. But if I remember correctly, in the first one, they didn't really show his face that much. They just showed his body kind of more crouchedy, and they showed just that like cross like moving through his body. I don't remember seeing his face in the first one.
I feel like there was a flash of his face, but I don't know. Yeah, I would like to go back and rewatch the first one just to see how well it lines up, like how well thought out this was, because that gave me a deeper appreciation for this film.
Yeah.
Because a lot of this film was a little cheap, in my opinion.
A lot of boo.
Yeah, but 2 jump scares did get me though. I did jump, even though I was fully expecting them. I think it was once when the nun fell down from the tree when Frenchie was in the cemetery. I was like, she's going to pop out. Yeah. And I was like, it's going to happen. It's going to happen.
They
and
built
then
it
I was
up
like,
for a while.
Fuck. Yeah.
And then it also turned into more of like a chase scene. So then you're like,
yeah, I was like, is she going to charge him? What's going to happen? But I part of me was like, no, she's going to hang from the tree. And she did.
Yeah.
And then the other one that got me was whenever Miss Sister Irene gets charged in the tunnel by that one that like she's got the one nun behind her, and then that other one comes out and like pushes her up against the wall.
Oh.
I know which part you're talking about, but no, this is at the end. Whenever she's got that one nun behind her with the black face.
Black face, yes.
Yeah. And then the other one comes up and charges her. Yeah. That
because she's like,
I wasn't expecting
she's like,
that.
Sister Irene, this way.
Yeah.
And then she's like,
yeah,
pushed up. Yeah,
I was not expecting another human or
anything
entity to
demon
pop up
nun.
there. So it got me. Suki was sleeping on me, and I was like,
poor baby.
She was like, "What the fuck? What the fuck, Mom?
That's a jolt of energy.
Why are you moving?"
You're just making sure she was alive and healthy.
Suki also kept making biscuits on my face while I was trying to write my notes. She kept putting her little paws like doing this on my face, and it hurts.
It hurt? Oh, because her nails?
Yeah, she's got claws. And so she was just like being so sweet, and she was doing this. But
she's really trying to cook you. She was preparing you to cook you. Caitlin.
Yeah, she was trying to mince my face. I can always feel it later in the shower.
Oh, because the little scratches, the micro scratches.
I'll be washing my face, and I'm like, oh.
No. Cool.
She likes to do it a lot.
And you will let her.
I will, because she's a sweet baby.
And we are at the Abbey of Saint Carta Romania.
Yes.
Or, well, not the Abbey. Yeah, the Abbey.
Yeah, the Abbey.
And there are two nuns walking down a corridor. It looks like we've got some business to attend to. Looks like something serious is happening. It's also a little scary because it's dark and there are like crosses all around them and stuff and hanging.
And then they get to a door that says "God ends here" in Latin. Yeah. Which I didn't write Latin down. I just wrote "God ends here."
God ends here. Yep. And we have the older sister, being Sister Jessica, opening the door, and what does she tells the other sister Victoria something real quick.
She says something about a relic, I think. Then
we got to protect something or something like that. Yeah. Or she's like, you know what you got to do. And then she walks in, and then it's like just abyss. And then we hear her scream, and Sister Victoria's like, gets on her knees and starts praying. Yeah.
The Lord's Prayer. And then Sister Jessica pops back out with bloody hand and is like, we need that relic, blah, blah, blah. Or like, you know what you got to do. And that's when she was like, I can't. But goes to do what it is she needs to do anyways. Yeah. Because she says something along the lines of the demon needs a vessel.
Yes.
To escape.
Yes.
And so you know what you have to do. And so she goes back into, she's also clutching this like gigantic key. It's massive. It's like the size of my cup here.
Like skeleton key, like back in the day type of key.
Yeah, huge, which was the key to the relic, as we find out later. But they were searching for the relic, and I guess they thought it was in there, and they didn't get far enough to see.
Yeah, I don't know what they were trying to do in there, TBH. Like, I didn't get the point of going in there for the most part, because I thought that was supposed to like keep the evil at bay. Yeah. So why would you want to open the door? It seemed like they were ill prepared. Yeah. That's all. But yes, and so Miss Sister Victoria is, running through the house. She's going up not the house, sorry, this is an abbey. It's like a castle, yeah. And she gets up, we can see that some entity is following behind her, but not like a chasing, but just kind of like slowly, eerily, skulking. Yeah, like very like a prey with predator situation. Yeah. And she gets a noose. I think she ends up in like what it looks like a kitchen or a quarters, like
I think it was a bedroom.
Was it a bedroom?
Yeah.
I don't know. And she ends up getting a noose, and then looking back behind her, a door starts opening, and then she gets to the window, says, what does she say? Something like some prayer little thing, and then just like plops out.
Yeah, I didn't write down what she said.
Yeah, it's a quick.
She said something like, or she says, "Lord, forgive me for the sin I'm about to commit."
There we go, because she's about to kill herself.
Yeah. And which is the ultimate sin. Yeah. And so she jumps out that window and she dies.
Yeah, she hangs herself immediately. And then at that point, that's whenever we do see
the window closes for whatever reason, which is not.
I guess maybe to keep the evil in. I don't know.
I think it closed just so we could see Valec's reflection.
True.
So
it's like when you're in the car and it's raining and you're doing like a music video.
Yeah, as you're driving by.
Yeah. But yeah, we do see Valek, a somewhat kind of blurred reflection, and then that's whenever we cut to our main guy, Frenchie. And he is coming to deliver some items. It's kind of like, he's got his little horse and his little cart. He's Very like if Holes Sam, who sells the onions in his cart with his donkey.
I can fix it.
And if she would have kissed him, she would have killed him. You'd never been born. And so we have him coming. He's got supplies. He gets to the abbey and he sees a freaking body just hanging there, and it's got crows all over it, and it looks like it's been bloody mess.
It's decaying for starters, and then it's picked at. Yeah, who knows how long it's been there? How long she's been there? It looks like it's been a hot second though, since. He at least like probably 2 weeks, because I imagine he's got to come like every 2 weeks or something to deliver supplies.
Or he says quarterly, didn't he, or something like that? I think he said quarterly.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so like every 3-ish months probably.
I don't understand how they have enough supplies.
I don't know. I couldn't imagine that nuns eat like a lot, and then it seems like they'd probably be like, well, for a month and a half of this we were fasting anyways, so.
Yeah, maybe. Anyway, she's been there for a while, and there's crows everywhere picking at her face and stuff, and then she falls down, and then that sends the crows flying, and then we get our title card, the nun. Yep.
Or the noon. I'm just kidding.
The noon.
And then we're dramatically and quickly sent to the Vatican City.
Yep.
Yeah.
And we have this meeting of priests. That's what they're called, right?
Priests, yeah.
Priests.
Yeah.
Okay. Cardinals.
But then they call it, there's like all these
I think the cardinals wear the red.
Yeah. Cardinals,
like a birdie.
Priests, bishop. I actually have no idea. I think that's a different I don't think that's Catholicism.
Sect of religion.
Yeah, I don't think that's Catholicism. But we have introduced to Father Burke, who is kind of introduced as this kind of like this power priest, super priest.
Yeah, it reminded me. I watched The Pope's Exorcist recently.
And it gave those vibes.
Yeah, the same as Russell Crowe's.
I didn't watch it.
But, why did I think Robbie said y'all watched it recently?
He has watched it.
He watched it.
Yes, I didn't watch it with him. He watched it when we weren't together.
It's not
nice, Robert. Don't do that again.
That's not nice, and it's not really.
No, I don't know. I haven't, so I don't know. He also said like I don't think he said it was that great. So yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't that great.
Yeah.
There were some cool scenes in it though, for sure.
Oh man, there was another movie he watched the other day, and it was. Oh yeah, the Insidious chapter, the new one, The Red Door.
Oh yeah.
He watched it, and then he was like, "It was actually pretty good." So then we watched it together. He watched it again. It was pretty good, actually. Honestly, you haven't seen it, right? And you don't like those movies, anyways, right?
No. Well, I would be curious to. We should cover Insidious 1 at least for Halloween.
Yeah. I love that movie.
I would be curious to go back and watch it now with like an educated
different perspective after seeing all these movies and like the knowledge we have with horror. Yeah, I
just remember thinking it was not that great when I was younger. I was like, this is not scary.
Yeah.
I don't know that brat.
We'll get there. Okay. But yes, so we are, Father Burke, he is super priest. He has this, resume of like doing, exorcisms and all these other things and helping people in churches and all these, he's kind of like, the PR for the Catholic Church. So they got to send him out somewhere because there's an issue going on at the Abbey. And he needs to do some, what's it called? Like investigating
as to whether or not the place is a holy place still. And they're sending him with a young girl who has memories or is familiar with the place, with the area. Yeah.
But also weren't these cardinals being very shady?
They
were being very like mysterious and vague and not like giving him like the full details.
Yeah, and they were like basically I feel like they were just being like, just have faith. And don't question us.
Yeah.
Which is feels like an abuse of power, but
and also like
what would I know?
They knew that this was a bigger problem than what it was.
Yeah.
And obviously just didn't want to tell him. But also, why wouldn't they tell him?
It's exactly like the Pope's Exorcist.
Oh, okay. But also, like, why wouldn't they tell him? Because it feels like if you tell the person who's the most prepared for something like this, he can get even more prepared. Like,
yeah.
Come in with him blind.
Guns blazing.
Yeah.
Yeah. But then we flash over to London, England, where we meet a young girl who is Sister Irene, as we later find out.
She's teaching some kids.
Yeah, and she's got some good philosophies about the dinosaurs, and because I guess Mother Superior said that the dinosaurs' bones were put there to question our faith,
to test the faith.
Test the faith.
Yeah, which I've heard that been said before, actually, by people in like church. Yes, that they were there put there by God to like literally test like our measure of like, do we believe science or really what we read as the Bible, whatever.
And then they're like, because dinosaurs weren't in the Bible, and she's like, don't you believe in penguins and koalas? They're not in the Bible either. And
it's makes sense.
Yep.
I'm on board. But the whole time that she's kind of talking about this as well, we have, I don't know if it's Mother Superior, but it's was it? I don't think it was her. An elder nun, though.
Yeah, one of the
other
higher nuns
came in, and you can tell she's like, not Irene doing this bullshit again.
Yeah.
And so she
doesn't seem to be Irene's biggest fan.
Yeah. And because especially when she's like, Sister Irene, we need you somewhere, all the kids are like, ooh, like she's in trouble. But she gets up and she follows her, and the nun is like, put your habit on because you have to meet with Father Burke because yada yada yada. You've been selected. This is an honor. And even though that bitch is like, I don't even know why they would choose you, but they apparently want you. And so all that's going on, and then she ends up meeting with Father Burke, and he's talking to her, and that's when he tells her, like, they told me that you're familiar with the area. And then she's like, bitch, I've never even been there.
Never been to Romania. Like,
she's like,
in the world.
She's like, I'm confused. Why would they send you to me? Like, I don't. And then we get another very important part that they can't stop mentioning throughout the whole movie is that she hasn't taken her vows yet.
Yeah.
She has not taken her vows. So she's kind of like a nun intern, basically.
Yeah, nun in training.
Does that mean she can still have sex?
Yeah.
Before the vows? Like, how does that count? Or does that like forfeit you? Do you have to restart from like chapter 1?
I feel like she technically could. And because she hasn't taken the vows yet to Christ. She's not married to Christ yet.
Also, that in itself, what a concept.
Yes.
That, and you know what? Sorry, we're not going to get into it.
Yeah.
Nope. We're going to have a whole sector of like people coming after us. Anyways.
Like, don't shit on Catholicism.
Pray for us. Do your part. All right. So Sister Irene, yes, talking to Father Burke. At this point, I think they're just kind of like, all right, we're going to do this.
Yeah.
Let's do it. Let's go.
So they go over to the village and they meet up with Frenchie
boy, and he very immediately starts to put on the moves on Miss Irene. And he's also like, to Father Burke, like, is it a wife or a daughter? Like, I guess he'd be getting around in his town.
Yeah, that's what it seemed like. And also he had awoken from a rather...
a nightmare.
Yeah, nightmare of the Abbey and everything like that. And so it was kind of like a cursed vision, it felt like, of what's to come / what he's already experienced and stuff like that. But they start talking about everything, and he's like, everyone in the village pretends that the Abbey doesn't exist. Like, it's a cursed place. We spit to ward off the evil, and no one, like, you can't even figure out anything about the Abbey because no one will talk to you about it.
Nobody wants to bring it up.
Yeah, they're all scared of it.
Yeah. And at this point, they want him to take them up there, but he's kind of like, nah, I don't want to go. Like, I'll pass. But then somehow Father Burke gets him to agree, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's just because he has the hots for Irene mostly, though.
Yeah.
Because he's like, we're going to go up there. So he's like, oh, okay, I guess I got to protect.
Because she says please.
Oh, okay. She's being just very nice to him. And he's like,
And he's like, okay, fine.
Yeah. And so they end up taking like the backwoods area. It takes a while to get to this Abbey, because he was like, it's not far, but I guess like the trek is like, it's hard, it's treacherous. And then they get to a certain spot. And at this point, we have them, kind of talking. Father Burke is doing crosswords. We get this very important little, foreshadowing of him with that deliveries crossword little thing. What are those called?
It's a crossword.
That's a crossword?
Yeah.
Is there a term for the actual, like, it's just the word?
Yeah.
The boxes? Okay. And so, we also get to learn that Frenchie is not like just a Frenchman. He's actually French Canadian.
Yeah.
And he moved over here after his father or something like that, something about his family. He moved over here, and that's whenever we get the horses stopping because they will not go any further. There's just one horse. He stops and won't go any further.
Yeah, that horse is like, absolutely the fuck not. This place haunted.
Mm-hmm.
No,
Bad
thank
vibes.
you.
Mm-hmm.
Always trust your pets.
True that. They know what's going on.
Animals.
They have that 7th, 8th sense.
Yep. The animals know something's up. You gotta sit with them and say, we're not going either. Did you know you could be putting oil and chemicals in your coffee? I love coffee creamer, but I don't think I've ever turned the bottle around to actually see what's inside. When I did, I found out many of my favorite creamers contain ingredients I would never intentionally add to my coffee cup, like canola oil, dipotassium phosphate, ew, and artificial flavors. Laird Superfood all started when big wave surfer Laird Hamilton needed morning fuel that could allow him to spend the entire day chasing the ultimate wave. He couldn't find anything in the market that met his ingredient standards, so made himself the ultimate plant-based creamer. Laird Superfood started and launched its first product, Original Superfood Creamer, in 2015. Laird Superfoods contain no artificial flavors, colors, or additives, and no sugars from highly refined corn syrup. All Laird products are sustainably sourced and thoroughly tested to ensure that you're incorporating the cleanest, finest fuel into your routine. All Laird products are also made of all-natural whole food ingredients, and they are crafted from the highest quality all-natural real food ingredients. Are you ready to feel more energized, focused, and supported? Go to lairdsuperfood.com and add nourishing plant-based foods to fuel you from sunrise to sunset. Use our promo code BOO at checkout to save 15% off your purchase today.
I love smoothies, but I don't love smoothie bar prices. With my BlendJet 2 portable blender, I can make smoothie bar quality beverages for a fraction of the price. BlendJet 2 is portable, so you can blend up a smoothie at work, a protein shake at the gym, or even a margarita on the beach. It's small enough to fit in a cup holder, but powerful enough to blast through tough ingredients like ice and frozen fruit with ease. BlendJet 2 is whisper quiet, so you can make your morning smoothie without waking the whole house. Lasts for 15 plus blends and recharges quickly via USB-C. Best of all, BlendJet 2 cleans itself. Just blend water with a drop of soap and you're good to go. There are also over 30 plus colors to choose from. I myself chose black because it matches the color of my soul. What are you waiting for? Go to blendjet.com and grab yours today. And be sure to use the promo code BOO12 to get 12% off your order and free 2-day shipping. No other portable blender on the market comes close to this quality, power, and innovation of the BlendJet 2. They guarantee you'll love it or your money back. Blend anytime, anywhere with the BlendJet 2 portable blender. Go to blendjet.com and use the code BOO12 to get 12% off your order and free 2-day shipping. Shop today and get the best deal ever. Did you know that dehydration is the leading cause of daytime fatigue? I was shocked to learn that even mild dehydration can cause headaches, muscle weakness, and brain fog. But luckily, there's a solution. Cure Hydration is an oral rehydration solution that contains the perfect balance of electrolytes and glucose to help your body absorb water and rehydrate quickly. The formula is made with all natural ingredients like coconut water, powder, and pink Himalayan salt, and is free from artificial flavors, sweeteners, and preservatives. Cure Hydration is vegan, gluten-free, and non-GMO, making it a great option for anyone with dietary restrictions or preferences. The packets are convenient and easy to use. Just mix with water and drink. They're perfect for on the go, travel, or anytime you need a quick and effective hydration boost. Hydration is more than just drinking water. That's what Lauren Picasso, a lifelong endurance athlete, discovered as she struggled to stay hydrated no matter how much water she drank. Lauren founded Cure, a science-backed electrolyte drink mix to make hydrating easy for everyone. Cure believes that hydration should be simple and effective, but also clean and natural. That's why they use only the highest quality plant-based ingredients and avoid any artificial or harmful additives. They're committed to transparency and honesty. All of their ingredients are clearly listed on their website and packaging, and they're always happy to answer any questions or concerns. Ready to combat dehydration? Try Cure today and feel the difference for yourself. Use code BOO for 20% off your order.
Are you tired of the same old boring puzzles? Mix things up with Wongo puzzles. Each puzzle is a custom design with intricate patterns and whimsical shapes that will keep you engaged for hours. Plus, their eco-friendly materials and commitment to sustainability make Wongo puzzles a guilt-free way to unwind. Wongo puzzles are 100% wooden puzzles, meaning they'll last forever. Each piece is hand-drawn, so no two pieces are the same, and you'll discover some fun, whimsy pieces as you work through it. They come in a custom wooden box, which is perfect for storage and gifting. With stunning design and unique shapes, Wongo puzzles are a cut above the rest. So what are you waiting for? Go to wongopuzzles.com and pick your puzzle today. And be sure to use the promo code BOO and get 10% off of your order. This is the most fun you've had with a puzzle guaranteed or your money back. Go to Wongo, WONGO, puzzles.com and use the code BOO to get 10% off your order and get puzzling right now. Wongo.
And so Father Burke, Sister Irene, and Mr. Frenchie pull up. We are at the Abbey now. And this is whenever they're discussing that, we're here to, investigate the suicide, figure out what's going on. The building looks like it's decrepit almost as well.
Yeah, it has massive holes in it from bombing that took place back in, I'm assuming, like World War II and stuff.
And then also they're asking like Frenchie, did you talk to anybody? Like, what was the vibes? And he's like, I literally never talked to anybody all this time that I've been delivering here. And
this is the first time I've seen a nun, and it was she was dead,
literally. And then we also get information that he's been delivering for 2 years there. And then they end up going to the ice house because he's like, I gotta show you where I put the body. The really creepy thing though is that whenever they do get into the ice house and they're looking at the body, it's sitting upright. And he's like, Father, I got to tell you one thing.
That's not how I left her.
She was laying down when I left her.
Yeah.
So somehow her body got upright. And then Father Burke has this, he's like, there are stories of bodies moving or whatever after, death, like nerves or something. But I'm like, I get maybe like a little quiver, but like sitting upright. I don't know about that.
Yeah. And then also Frenchie was like, after this long after death, I don't think so.
Yeah.
Like, it's been a hot second since she's been dead.
And then who knows how long. I think he even mentioned it there. He was like, who knows how long it was until I even found her.
Yeah. Yeah. So she's been dead a while. She shouldn't be sitting up on her own.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was rather creepy. I had a feeling that was exactly what he's going to say. Like, whenever she was sitting up, I was like, oop, that's not how I left her. And then he went, that's not how I left her. And I was like,
predictable.
I said it. I said literally word for word.
I love when that happens in movies sometimes though.
It makes me feel like I'm powerful.
Like you wrote it.
Yeah. I wrote this movie. Directed by Kaylin Klein.
You're the author.
I am.
And so we have them, getting the body, and they're like, yada, yada, yada. We're talking about how there's another foreshadowing. There's a door that says deliveries, and that's how Frenchie or the nuns would come out through their own entrance through the ice house to grab the supplies from Frenchie.
That way they didn't have to leave the castle. So there's another way in and out of this place.
Yes. And then we have them talking about how they want to go ahead and bury the body, just like, she needs a proper burial to respects of, her soul, I guess. And so they end up taking the body out. Excuse me. They end up taking the body out. They go to a cemetery area, and this is where we get them digging hole. Digging hole. That sounds kind of nasty.
Digging up them holes. Digging.
Gotta be 6 inches, 6 feet. 6 inches. It's gotta be the size of the shovel. 6 feet wide, 6 feet deep. Okay. And so, anyways, we have them burying the body, but all the little tombstones all over the cemetery, they have little bells, because back in the day, whenever bodies would go in the ground and it was like the plague, sometimes some people weren't dead, and so you would get to ring the bell to alert people like, hey, y'all buried me, like preemptively by mistake.
Which is actually a common, was a thing, because then there was a big like mass hysteria of being buried alive. And so they came up with a whole bunch of different things, like bells, even like some people were buried with feeding tubes down there. One person was buried like with a small oven and food inside, just in case they, And so other ones were buried with like tunnels down that you could see like all the way into the grave. And so you'd just like look in there and see if they were alive or dead, but then you could just watch them decay when they were dead.
I feel like an odor would come up.
Yeah,
I don't know, but that's crazy. And also it reminds me of the movie The Autopsy of Jane Doe, and how they put little bells on the toes of people, so if they like ding ding ding, and they know that they're alive.
Yeah.
But yes, we do get to bury the sister. We say some words, yada bada binga bong, and that's whenever we do end up going back to the abbey. And as they're walking up, Father Burke sees either him or Irene, but I think it's Burke. He sees a nun in the window, but she like quickly like turns away, and then
Father Burke.
They end up seeing that their blood that was on the steps of the church from the suicide of Miss Sister Jessica
is still wet.
It's still wet, and it look like there's even more.
Yeah.
And it's very viscous, and they're like, how is that even possible if like she died a long time ago?
And Frenchie says, "What's the opposite of a miracle, Father?"
Mm-hmm.
And so saying that this place is cursed. Yeah. And that's why that blood is still there.
And so they end up going inside. They do their little, when they do
the sign of the cross.
The sign of the cross, and they walk inside. And they end up going in, and immediately I'm like, why the fuck is this like a ritual room? Like, it looks like the ritualistic room from like Alien versus Predator. You know what I mean? Like how they have tables, and it looked like the bodies would be on there, and like cadavers, and like their hearts ripped out. Okay, anyways, but yes, it's a little spooky ooky. It's dark, and there's nobody there for the most part. They're looking around, but then out of nowhere, some lady appears in a very long black habit, like
with a shroud over her face and stuff. And she's just facing. I couldn't tell if she was facing the opposite direction or if she was sitting.
No, she was sitting.
Okay, it looked like she was at first. I thought she was facing the opposite direction, but it's also she just has black, her so shrouded.
Couldn't tell.
But she was facing away or facing them, and she's basically telling them. We find out that she's the abbess, so the kind of, I guess, like the one in charge over everything.
And immediately I'm like, this is not a person.
No,
like this is not human or good.
Her voice was all cracky and
scary
stuff,
and she's like, what is it that you want? And then basically warns them and says, like, come back tomorrow. We have taken a vow of silence throughout the night when it's sundown.
And until the mid-morning. And so come back tomorrow, but you can stay in the lodging. There's lodging in the abbey, so you can stay there. Which is basically like, I wouldn't do that.
I wouldn't either. But they end up staying on the property. Frenchie is like, deuces, I'm gonna head out. I'll come back in a few days.
And Father Burke tells him to come back in a few days. And I was like, that's a bad idea. It reminded me of like Ichabod Crane.
Very much so. And so as Frenchie is leaving, he's walking through the woods, and he ends up seeing a ghost nun who ends up being Sister Jessica, who killed herself. And she's like leading him basically through the cemetery. She has a little noose. She's a spirit. She ends up like, it's a little bit of a chase scene, like we were mentioning earlier. And then she ends up just fucking like falling out of the tree on top of him, like hanging herself.
Yeah, she hangs herself, and then the rope breaks again, just like it did at whenever he found her, and she falls on top of him.
She's like all decayed and looks like, evil and like a zombie, basically.
Her face is still half eaten from the crows, and she's like, "Rah!"
And it really freaks him out, rightly so. So he ends up getting up, running away. He's like in the graveyard, and he's got all this fog around him.
I'll take that. And he steals the cross from the grave,
which is a tomb, which is like someone's tombstone, right?
Headstone.
Headstone.
That's but it was funny.
I think that in itself gets you cursed, doesn't it?
I feel like.
But he runs away with that huge ass cross, and then we end up getting back to Sister Irene, I believe. And that's whenever she's like kind of looking through the abbey, and or her quarters, I guess, wherever it is, because they're not technically like they're outside of the abbey, but in the abbey, like, you know what I mean? And we get a photograph of these 4 nuns in a picture. She's talking to Burke. They're having like a little dinner thing, and this is when we learn about her visions that she had when she was a little girl.
She says she's had a series of visions ever since she was little, and her father thought she was mentally ill at first, but then the sisters at her convent helped her out and stuff, and told her, like, that you're not crazy, basically.
She's like divinely blessed with these visions for some reason, and there's and
she said all visions, because he kind of asked her, like, well, what were they? And she was like, I don't really remember all of it, but I just know that at the end of it, I always had the same thought that Mary points the way. And then he kind of goes on to explain that, you know, he also dealt with somebody who had visions like that, and his parents and everyone brought him in, and he decided that he was possessed and ended up performing an exorcism on him.
In a barnyard.
And this little boy's name was Daniel.
Little Daniel, little demon boy Daniel. Boy, he was possessed. They have him like tied up where it's like your legs and your arms are all like pulled all, you know, in every direction. Opposite directions. And in the you know, the heat of the exorcism, Daniel took like on all these like physical injuries, and he ended up succumbing to these injuries and dying. And so Father Burke still has like a lot of remorse and guilt, and you know, he feels like
kind of blames himself.
He says like he was basically too ambitious in wanting his own, like, you know, to be like, hey, I you know, I got this demon out, we saved him, but like in doing so he ended up killing the boy. So he obviously has a lot of guilt with that, and that comes up a lot more in the film. And the Valak, the evil entity in this film, plays a lot on that to torment him.
Yeah, which we found that Valak tends to do that.
Your worst
in
fears,
The Conjuring too, and stuff as well. Valak also did that. So it's kind of Valak's
MO.
Yeah.
So we end up, it's nighttime, people are sleeping, but a radio turns on, and it starts playing like a little ditty,
jazzy music.
And Father Burke is in his bed asleep, but that's whenever we see that he wakes up, he's hearing the music, he goes to investigate. He has like a flashlight, and also not me like thinking like, oh, we had flashlights in 1952.
I know, I also thought that.
I was like, wait, hold up. I was like, my ignorance. They probably came out a long time ago. But yeah, he's got that flashlight. He's looking around, and he flashes it on. As soon as he flashes it on the radio, it goes off.
It shuts off, and the way it shut off was so creepy.
Of course, yeah.
Too.
It's like,
yeah,
the way things die.
I didn't like it. I was like, ooh,
bad vibes.
It made me say, oop.
And so, you know, something bad's about to happen. And then something like there's like a a shadowy silhouette. Is that called a silhouette? A figure. Something goes by him, and then he ends up seeing something run by him. And then he's like he ends up going through like a hall, and then he goes through like all these sheets. And
yeah, I'm assuming they were doing laundry.
Yeah, he sees little legs. Also, who was doing laundry, because they're all dead.
Yeah.
And he ends up seeing it's Daniel. Daniel is the little boy, you know, that he was talking about earlier, is running through the fucking halls of this castle. And then he ends up taking him out into the graveyard, and kind of essentially what the evil entity wanted, because he's trying to find him. Daniel's hiding behind headstones, and then
you see his little head poke out every now and then,
which is pretty creepy.
It was pretty creepy. And then all of a sudden he's standing in front of one, and he's like, why, blah, 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 why didn't you help me? And then all of a sudden he just like
vomit
a snake.
The snake is like going really fast in the grass and starts going towards Burke and starts to lunge at him, and it makes Father Burke go back. But as he's doing that, he ends up falling into a freaking open, like, what is open grave, yeah. And there's a casket there for him, and then it just like shuts on him,
and all of a sudden he's magically covered
with the dirt,
and it's been grown over him. So
grass and everything, tombstone and all, that already had "Here Lies Father Burke,"
Anthony Burke.
Yeah.
That
part was a bit
kitschy.
Yeah. It's fantastical. But anyways,
and he's got the bell too.
Yeah.
So we see that he's got the bell ringing. Ugh, the snaky. I hate that Valak is the Marquis of Snakes. I'm so afraid of snakes.
Well, also too, for being the Marquis of Snakes, I feel like there should have been more snakes. There's just that one, right?
No, there's the other one at the end that bites his eyeball.
Oh, yeah.
And wraps around his neck.
On Frenchie? On
Burke.
That is towards the end, right? Yes. Whenever they're having the big countdown or showdown, but then even at the end, right? Whenever we get the recap of what happened to Frenchie, There is a snake there, wasn't there? That
maybe.
slithered into a mouth. Maybe not.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, from Valak's
Valak into
mouth.
Frenchie.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay. Got it. But yes, we're now back with Irene, and she was asleep, but she wakes up, and this is whenever was it a dream, or she just wakes up, or a vision? I feel like she was having a vision or something. Maybe not. But she wakes up, and then that's whenever she starts like looking around and snooping, and then we get like Valak's shadow in the background, like the nun background.
Yeah, she's being stalked by a nun figure now.
And then she's just like kind of still looking through the whole castle, but that's whenever the father is like, he's screaming. So we can tell he's trying to make an attempt for someone to help him. He's screaming for Sister Irene, and she ends up following a nun that she thinks she sees and enters a chapel with a bunch of other nuns.
Yeah, and she hears like chanting. So she follows the chanting.
Yeah.
And then she's in this little room with all these nuns bowed down praying, and all of a sudden just this giant shadow appears on the wall. It like stands up as if it's like behind her or something. And then it walks its way across the wall, very much like in The Conjuring 2, whenever
the
around the room back to the painting. Yeah, it reminded me very much of that. And then once it reaches the mirror, the body actually appears. You get the apparition of it
from behind her.
Yeah. And then so she turns around and nothing's behind her. And so that part was pretty cool. That was really neat. I thought it was a really clever idea. It looked really good. And then she turns back around to face the mirror, and then the face of Valak is just like
right in front of her,
right there, and the mirror explodes. And that was a little cheap in my opinion, but the shadow leading up to it with it coming into the mirror and stuff was really cool. I thought
it did.
I thought that was
cool.
a really neat,
it was a really cool
moment.
shot, because it goes from being just like 2D to 3D, and then it's a bit much, especially when they were kind of setting that up a lot. But she ends up, like you said,
because it wasn't even just one nun. It was like all the nuns that had been praying there were all also around her, and like blah.
And then they were all gone as she kind of comes back to. And then that the cross, does it fall, or is it just red? I remember there's like a red light on it, but she ends up,
I think it like halfway falls.
Right? Yeah, something happens.
Kind of like in The Evil Dead Rise.
Oh yeah,
when Jesus falls.
Just halfway. That's right. And then Father's ringing that bell, and then all the bells start ringing, and then this is whenever she starts to like kind of have this like vision, psychic premonition thing, vibes. I don't know what's going off in her, but she then like is realizing like, oh wait, spidey senses, Father Burke's in trouble. And so she ends up seeing like that he's in the grave through her mind.
Yeah, she gets out there first, and all the bells are ringing, so she can't tell which one he's in.
That's what's
and then she gets hit with the like spidey senses, little vision, and she's like, "Oh, he's in that one," and goes and sees him in her mind's eye, and goes and starts digging him up.
Yep. And as she's digging him up, he is getting attacked by a demonic force down there, probably the nun, I don't know, but all the nuns, it's hard to like, do we defer to Valak as the nun, or as Valak and the other ones are the nuns? Who's the nun?
Yeah,
is Sister Irene the nun? This movie is just about, anyways,
about
I'm sorry,
her
I'm getting
becoming a nun.
I'm overthinking it, but he's getting attacked down there.
I assume it's Valak when it's got Valak's face, that one creepy face, and then all the other ones I guess would just be the nuns,
the subpar nuns.
So the minions.
And so she gets him out. He punches his way out. She's like, "You were fucking buried," and he's like, "There's an evil presence here." It's like, no shit. And so
this place is cursed.
And so
she almost stabs him in the face too with the shovel. I was like, ooh,
trying to get him out. And at this point we end up going back to the abbey, and there's more fucking blood on the steps for some reason.
Yeah, now it's definitely become more blood.
Yeah.
So they're like, that's weird.
And then at this point, I think they're both kind of like, ugh, okay, like what? But then he's like, we're taking on this challenge. Like we're gonna solve this. We're gonna make this place holy again. And so that's whenever because it's already it's the next day, right? Or something, because they're going to go talk to the nuns to be like, hey, let us in, let us go into the abyss. But that's whenever they tell him that only Sister Irene can go in and he can't. I guess because she's a woman, right? Or he's a man, he can't go in there.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Yeah, but they're just like, only she can go in. So he ends up staying back, and he's gonna, like, read through texts and find some stuff out, investigate, and she's gonna go in, and her job is to talk to the nuns, figure out what's going on, see how they can help, or get more information. And so she ends up following a nun,
a figure,
yeah,
up into the abbey. Yeah, and then she ends up finding Sister Ruth praying.
Mm-hmm.
And she runs into Sister Ona. Is that how we decided to say her name?
Yeah, we'll just say Ona, because she's about to like try tap Sister Ruth on the shoulder, but then Sister Ona stops her and she's like, "Don't! You can't stop her, because
we must pray constantly
to keep the evil at bay." Yes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And so Sister Ona is telling her all that, and then we flash back to Frenchie at a pub in the town. And they're talking about how a 12-year-old girl completed suicide.
She hung herself
as well. And then the guy's like, you took 2 people up there. And he was like, after you discovered that body. And he goes, I fear you're about to discover 2 more.
Mm-hmm. And he's telling him that the evil is leaking out of that place and reaching the people in the town.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And so he's got to do something about it. And so Frenchie's like, I can't let them die. So we kind of see that that's the turning point determining for him to come back.
Yeah. Earlier than the 2 days, because it's only been a day.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And then we flash to Father Burke, and he's in the room researching, and that's right as he finds Valak's picture in the book, and he says the defiler, the profane, the Marquis of Snakes and stuff. The room traps him in. Mm-hmm. The gate thing that comes down just shuts on him, and he's like,
yeah,
hello?
Traps him in there, and then also traps Sister Irene in the abbey.
Yeah.
Abbess. I don't know. Abbess, but whatever. And that
the abbess is the main person.
Oh, okay. So the abbey is just okay. So yeah, she gets trapped on that side as well. And then that's whenever we have Irene talking to Sister Ona, and she's giving her the backstory of how this place came to be, how it was built a long time ago by a duke who was a little bit crazy and was trying to contact hell and spirits, and he was opening up a gateway to allow evil inside of evil out into the earth. But the church stopped him just in time by killing him, and then they sealed up the evil and put it back with an old relic that had the blood of Jesus Christ.
Yep.
Which is wild to think about. And then throughout all of that, years later, whenever the war started, because of the bombings, the evil was unsealed. And so that's why that's why they pray every day, and they have to keep praying to keep the evil from being unleashed. And that's the role of the nuns. And then they also bring up how Sister Irene saw this evil presence in that room whenever the mirror shattered, and that's whenever Sister Ona is like, oh, we all see her
too. Mm-hmm. Yeah, she skulks around at night, and
she takes the shape of a nun to look
hide.
like us. Yeah. But then she shows us her. She didn't use fears. It's something else. I don't remember the verbiage, but
yeah. Mm-hmm. She also explains how Sister Victoria's death was a tragedy for the convent, and that she was the most devoted of all of them, which was oh shit,
yeah,
kind of thing. And then she takes her to her room, which is the same room that Sister Victoria jumped out the window in.
Yeah.
And
then she locks her in there.
Yeah, locks her in there, which I was like, that's pretty sketch. And I was like, why are they making her sleep in that room? That's scary.
It's a scary movie.
Yeah. Then this is where Father Burke starts encountering the abbess again while he's locked in that room.
Because he was looking at the blueprints and stuff.
Yeah.
Of the abbey and stuff.
And then that's when the abbess is like, it's too late, Father. Sister Irene is lost. Mm-hmm. And then her bones
her neck snaps.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then he goes to inspect her and because his candle blows out, and he goes to like look at her, and then as soon as he gets close enough, she just like she like starts choking him, right?
Yeah, grabs his arm
His
at least,
arms,
I think.
yeah, and then he's able to pull away,
and her arm comes off with him.
it's just bones.
Yeah,
and then he's freaking out, and then at the same time we cut to Irene, and she's having a night. This is where she wakes. She's having a nightmare. Yes, and she wakes up, and there's a fucking nun in the fucking edge of like at the end of the other side of the room, like
just praying,
and she's like, "Who are you?" I love how she's like, "Who are you?
Who are you? Get out of here!" And then you see its little hand pop out, and it's starting to drop rosary beads everywhere. And
I love how when she's like, we see the POV of her coming towards it, the cross starts like slowly turning upside down,
just like it did at the beginning of the film,
and in The Conjuring too, how the crosses were turned upside down.
And then as she's standing there, all of a sudden Victoria's apparition appears behind her, and it says "God save you," and then it recreates the
scene from the beginning.
Yeah, and then the door opens up, and we see Valak standing there at the end. But then, like once Irene looks and turns back over her shoulder, Valak kind of disappears.
Yeah.
And then she's being led down to the evil door now.
And the
God ends here door.
Yeah, ends up making her way down there. She ends up getting close, but not all the way close. And then her candle blows out, and then the door opens. And that's whenever we see that Valak is at the end of the hallway looking at her menacingly in the shadows.
And I love how she goes, "Oh God."
And basically it turns into a wind tunnel vortex situation.
Yeah, she's like getting sucked into Valak. Valak's like Kirby.
Valak's and Sister Irene is holding the key, this big ass key, and that's whenever Valak's trying to get the key from her. It ends up blowing down to the ground, but instead of just letting the key go all the way to the Valak, Irene lets go of the cross or whatever she was holding onto and grabs the key, and she ends up getting like sucked all the way to the door. But instead of going through the door is like closed now for some reason, and she ends up on the back of the door, and she falls, and she's like, "What the fuck?" And she's like, really, she actually did a really good job here. Like I thought she was genuinely scared, like she was terrified.
Yeah.
And then she ends up running, and that's whenever
because hands break through the door.
That's right. Yeah.
Hands break through the door and like grab her head. So then she's like, "Wah!"
Yeah.
Starts running, and then this
Sister
bitch
Ona
stops.
Yeah, she does.
She stops, turns around for a second, and I was like, "Bitch, don't turn around! What the hell are you doing?" And then
Sister Ona
this is where Sister Ona grabs her and tells her they have to pray. She's like, "We have to go. We have to pray all night." And then she's like, "You need to go now," and tells her to go. So we find out that later, when we find out that all the nuns are dead, Sister Ona's ghost is protecting her.
Yeah,
which is nice.
It's good to have a ghost on your side.
And
at the same time, we have Burke. He is following what he sees like to be the abbess, and she goes into, what are those things, like those booths, confessionals, confession booth, and he goes in there to try to get her, but there's nobody in there. And at the same time, Irene is going into a chapel with Sister Ona, because that's where all the nuns are going to pray. And so they start to pray. They're all kind of down on their knees, they're praying, and that's whenever Irene sees that there's a body with a sheet over it, like when people are dead. And so she lifts it up, and it's fucking Sister Ona's body. Sister Ona's there
dead with like blood dripping from her eyes, and then she's grasping a cross, and she's got 2 nails in the back of either of her hands, just like she was crucified or something.
Yeah. Very sacrilegious.
Yeah.
And at the same time, we're cutting to Burke again, and he's getting attacked now by the spirit of Daniel, or maybe not even real Daniel, but like evil demon, demonic entity, fake Daniel. And at this
Daniel that Valak has put forth.
Yeah. And so at this point, we have more nuns coming into the chapel, and they start to pray. And the ghost of Sister Ona, or another one's like yelling at her to be like, "Don't stop praying." And so Sister Irene is praying on her knees, and that's whenever
because they all got in there, and they were like, "No matter what you hear, no matter what you see, don't stop praying." Like, stuff might happen, but you got to keep praying.
And stuff does happen. And then
the nuns get like blown backwards,
except for Irene.
Yeah.
And then that's whenever
Jesus' head falls off,
gets decapitated. And thankfully, at the same time, I think Burke is looking. He gets this idea. He remembers about the ice house and how there was
The
another way to
deliveries.
get into the abbey, and so he goes down there into the ice house, and that's whenever
He sees a fucking bell on the
yeah,
floor, and he said, "I was like, what are you, a cat? Don't follow that thing.
Yeah,
Get away
obviously.
from it." And because it starts just getting pulled across the floor and up into the, I don't know, like a little ice bath or something, and it. All of a sudden, he like wipes it off, and then there's this nun underneath it that like pops up, and it's like, bleh.
Yeah, and he is getting attacked, but thankfully, in the nick of time, Frenchie comes in and saves him, and that's whenever, and he saves him with the shotgun, right? But he doesn't shoot it yet. He just like pistol
He
whips
uses
her.
the back of the gun or something, and he says like, I'm using that in case, like, he was like, you should have just used a shotgun, and he was like, that's for an emergency.
Yeah. And then we go back to Irene praying in the little chapel, and that's whenever the guys are coming in to try to like come for her to help her out, because at this point she's
all the while she's praying still, but her habit gets ripped open, and she gets a pentagram carved into her back while she's praying, and then that's when the guys show up and are slamming on the door, and she goes and lets them in, and she was like, we were just praying, and they're like, what? And she was like, me and the other nuns, we have to pray to keep the evil at bay. And they're like,
who?
What other nuns?
Yeah.
What are you talking about, girl?
Nobody's here, because she turns around and nobody's there.
They're
the
all
entire time.
gone.
Yeah.
But that corpse is still in the corner.
Still
So
dead.
she goes and looks at that, and then we see it's like a mummified corpse of Ona.
It's been there forever.
Yeah. And then all of a sudden it comes to life and stabs Father Burke in the stomach or something with the cross.
And then they have to set it on fire.
Yeah.
And then she just starts burning. And that's whenever Irene is like, man, there really is no one left. And then that's whenever Father Burke is like, this place is no longer holy. And
Frenchie shoots the thing, and he says that felt like an emergency. Frenchie was our comedic relief.
He was. And that's whenever they start to put things together, and they're like, okay, so Sister Jessica, it wasn't a suicide, it was a sacrifice, because she was trying to protect everyone else by not letting Valak get a vessel and be able to wreak havoc. So they end up deciding that they need to stay and seal the gateway, so that way nothing so that way they can defeat the evil.
Yeah, but before they do, she wants to take her vows. And so we have the scene of her like weirdly laying on the ground to take her vows. And then she gets up and stuff, and then they're like, okay, well, we got to figure out what this key does, and we got to find that blood of the relic with the blood of Jesus Christ. And so they go down, and she's like, I think I know where that tunnel is.
Yeah. They go into they call them the catacombs, right? Or something
yeah.
Like that? And so that's whenever they go down there and they start searching for the relic. And it's, obviously they kind of have no leads at this point, and they're a little lost, but they end up coming towards a statue of Mary, and it's got its little finger pointed out, and it looks like there was a fucking light, like
shining right on her finger.
Also, they're underground.
I said, what in the national treasure is this?
Also, yes. And how is a light shining down there? Like, they're in the dark. Anyways. And so
I guess there was one little hole,
and it just
maybe from the bombing.
It's divine intervention.
And
it's God.
Yeah, it was God.
Yeah. And so he's like, don't you see it, Sister Irene? And Irene's like, nah, brah. What you talking about?
What the fuck you talking about? And he's like, Mary points the way.
Show me your visions.
And then she puts the key into the wall. I was like, that doesn't look like a key would fit there at all. But okay.
And it opens up, and we see the relic that has, which honestly, this little orb-looking thing was pretty cool. I want one. But it has the blood of Jesus Christ on a little cross vial tube-looking thing.
Yeah, you just need a little bit of blood. And I love, Frenchie goes, holy shit.
Yeah.
And Father Burke goes, the holiest.
So punny. And then I started thinking Jurassic Park. I'm like, instead of the dinosaurs, what if they just made a whole bunch of Jesuses?
Clone Jesus.
A bunch of Jesus. Like,
but didn't they like try to do that
everybody
like
gets a
in real
Jesus.
life?
I have no idea.
Or something from the shroud of Jesus. Like, didn't they find the shroud that like they believe covered Jesus's face?
I don't know. I mean, I could see that probably happening, but I haven't heard that story yet.
That's a conspiracy theory that I believed, or I dreamt it.
It feels like that's one of those stories when you remember back in the day, when we were kids, the Inquisitor. Like those that have the alien stories and all that kind of stuff.
The black and white one.
Yes.
That was like Bat Boy.
Yeah, I loved looking at those. Yeah, and being in line.
Aliens are real.
And so
aliens are real.
They are. They're in our government.
And they live in the ocean.
They're in your home. They do. There's. Anyways, all right. So we have her. We have. Why do I have Bride of Christ? Who's a Bride of Christ? She's the Bride of Christ.
Sister Irene is the Bride of Christ now. And she's the
one who's got to do the thing because she's the Bride of Christ.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. That's what they're saying. And then that's whenever I think even like Frenchie's like, should we pray before we, get into this thing? And Father Burke is like, nah, man, there's a time for prayer and there's a time for action. And he's like, this is action. And I'm also thinking like, I probably would have helped to pray too.
Yeah. Because that's what Frenchie says too. He's like, it probably still wouldn't hurt.
Yeah. But they end up coming to the door that Sister Irene was at earlier and where we were at the beginning, the door that says God ends here. And right? Mm-hmm. No, yeah. And so that's whenever for some reason they all decide to split up, or because they're getting led in different ways by the spirits.
Yeah, and they like Frenchie waits a while before he follows in. And so he kind of gets separated from them, and I think follow Frenchie first, and his light gets like blown out. It's because he's carrying like a fire torch.
Yeah. A torch. Yeah. Well, it's because he ends up seeing Sister Irene like turn left into this one little room, and he's about to go into it, but then it's because he hears some noise, and so he's like, I'm gonna go over here for some odd reason, and then he ends up getting attacked by one of the nuns, and then his torch gets blown out.
And then we have the scene that gave me the second jump scare where Sister Irene turns that corner and she's walking down the hallway, and we get that nun behind her, and then we hear Sister Irene this way. And then all of a sudden she gets attacked by another surprise nun.
Pinned up against the wall.
Yeah. And that
pretty violent.
That kind of made me be like, whoa.
Yeah. And Irene, is able to get away, break free, and ends up running away.
And runs into this room where she then ends up in the middle of a pentagram.
Yeah.
We see
the candles
candles light one by one, and they're each at the point of the pentagram.
And then we see that
pentagram 5.
Yeah, it's 5. And with the circle around it. And then we have her, and we have the nuns all in like white shrouds around her. And that's whenever
terrifying.
Yeah, pretty terrifying because they're just silent and they're just standing there.
Like they whenever Frenchie comes in too, and then their little heads just like.
And he has that, and of course, Sister. Yeah.
We'll trying to figure out which one's Sister Irene and stuff. Yeah,
he needs Sister Irene's psychic abilities, and so Burke ends up making a cross with oil and fire because he's getting attacked by these other nuns.
Yeah, and also no way he made that cross.
Yeah, for sure. Like, but somehow
it was a perfect little cross.
He makes a prayer. He says a little prayer, and it ends up being able to ward off the demon spirits. And so, he ends up making his way, goes back to try to get to Frenchie and Sister Irene. But at this point, that's whenever Frenchie is in that room with all the nuns, and he's trying to figure out, okay, which one is Irene?
Yeah.
He makes his way through them, but that's whenever we see that Sister Irene's like freaking doing the like smooth criminal Michael Jackson move.
Yeah, she's like levitating
halfway. But like at an angle. And so this is whenever he's looking at her and he's trying to talk to her, and then she's like, Valak's like, ha ha ha, too late, Irene. It's no longer Irene.
She's
demon.
Become possessed.
Yeah, and it ends up attacking.
And she's like, you failed just as you failed everyone in your life.
Yeah, she's like, and then it's like, you're not a real French man or something like that. And he's like, I'm not. I'm French Canadian. And it ends up he has blood of the Jesus and smears it on the face.
Yeah, and that sends Valak flying out of Irene's body into just the back room. And then all of a sudden
Valak comes back up and grabs Frenchie because pissed off.
Yeah, and sends Irene flying into the water. And then we kind of cut more to Irene there and not really focusing on Frenchie. It was just like we see Frenchie like get choked out. Yeah, and knocked out, which I was like, not Frenchie.
Yeah.
But then we're with Irene in the water, and all of a sudden Father Burke's there too now.
But he gets distracted by Daniel.
Yeah, and then Valak, and that's when Daniel sends the snaky in to bite Father Burke's eye and wraps around his throat, and it was so creepy. The snake looked so slippery.
Yeah.
I hated it.
It looked real.
Yeah.
And then we have Valak demonically and evilly rising out of the water.
Just like Evil Dead Rise.
And is on top of the water floating on there.
Also, Valak is tall.
Yeah, very tall.
Valak a tall boy.
Very tall.
Girl. Them.
They. Who knows?
Valak's a tall them.
And that's and starts attacking Irene immediately, trying to drown her. But at the same time that all this is happening, Father Burke tries to step up and intervene, but he ends up getting like thrown really hard up against the wall, so that kind of knocks him out. And we have Valak trying to drown Irene this whole time, and she's able
like
to
choking her against the stairs and holding her face underwater. But
at this all while all this is going on, Irene is able to find the relic, and she has it underneath with her in the water. We see kind of stuff going on, but Valak is able to get the relic away from Sister Irene, and it's basically like, haha, there's no more left, you can't defeat me. And fucking kind of iconic, Sister Irene just like spits out like how people do with like the spit and like fire and all that with alcohol, and just spits out all this blood in Valak's face, and Valak don't like that.
Yeah, Valak starts like screaming, and the portal starts closing back up. All the water starts like rushing into the portal, and Valak's like melting basically.
Yeah.
And then, you know, this is where Irene kind of passes out as Valak is getting destroyed, and Frenchie comes up and saves her and gives her some CPR.
Yeah.
Well, he gives her just the kiss of life.
Yeah.
Not the chest compressions. And
he slipped a tongue in there.
Yeah, he probably did. And then she comes back to life. She spits up her water and stuff like that. And then we flash to the next day, and we're having happy little scenes of them kind of bandaging one another up.
Yeah, taking care of each other. They're kind of just, you know, kind of very nonchalant, even after they just had this fucking...
We just fought a demon.
Literally,
no big deal.
Yeah, literally. Just another day's work. And
all in a day's work.
She's talking to Frenchie. She asks what his name is at this point, and we find out his name is Maurice. And we see that he, as they're heading out and they're on the, you know, the, what's it called? The carriage, the thing, the whole.
Yeah, carriage.
He has a scar on his neck of an upside down cross.
Yep, a little upside down cross appears, and
he kind of scratches the back of it. It's kind of like whatever. And also it looked like it was protruding. So how did they not see that?
Yeah.
But yeah.
Maybe it was low enough to where I think his shirt. Collar covered it, but whenever he bent his head down like that to scratch at it, we could see it.
And that's whenever we have a flash
also,
forward.
how often do you look at people's nape of their neck?
All the time.
Damn, that's a nice neck.
And it's 20 years later. And we are now back with the Warrens. They're having their lecture that we saw at the beginning of the first Conjuring film, with the mother being in the audience. And we are seeing that the exorcism that they were performing in that movie at the beginning in the film was actually Maurice, who had, you know, they didn't know the extent of what had happened to him in that film at that point. But he had been possessed, and they were trying to save him. And that's whenever, you know, that's how Valak came into the life of Lorraine. And yeah, that's
Ed Warren, yeah. And this is the one that was the exorcism that fucked Lorraine up, basically, and where she saw the premonition of Ed's death and everything. And so that was the one that made her like clam up and not talk for weeks on end and stuff, or not leave her room and stuff. So Valak really got to Lorraine.
Yeah, which is Valak's seems like it's very pretty successful, because he's like, you know, got out the Abbey into Frenchie, and then in a way not necessarily possessing her, but like latched itself onto Lorraine throughout that process. Yeah,
who's a very powerful being.
Yeah. And I'm sure, being a medium as well, that helps or whatever. I feel like the demons and the spirits, like, obviously can recognize when someone is intuitive with that kind of stuff. And they're like, oh, all right, I'm gonna fuck with you. But yeah, that ends what would be the first chapter of The Nun, which is kind of exciting to be covering it, because within a week we will be having a second chapter of The Nun 2. The Nun Awaits. No, I'm just kidding.
It's just The Nun 2.
It's just The Nun 2, yeah.
I haven't seen trailers or anything for this.
I've seen a few, but they're not trailers, like the teaser type of vibe ones. So like I know nothing really. It's just
about what will happen.
Yeah, like I know nothing about the plot.
I'm assuming hopefully it goes into continuation and it shows us Frenchie's possession.
I'm not sure.
That would be cool.
It would be cool. I know that it has Sister Irene in it for sure. Like she is once again, I think, like going to be the main person. But I am not sure. You have any fun facts for us?
Yeah. Well, do you want to tell us your views first?
No, I want to hear the facts actually first. The fun facts.
How do you say her name? Thaisa
Farmiga.
Mm-hmm. Who plays Sister Irene in this film, is the younger sister of Vera, who plays Lorraine Warren in The Conjuring and all of the other Conjurings. The demon nun, played by Bonnie Aarons, also appeared in The Conjuring 2 and had a brief cameo in Annabelle Creation. And though the sisters' characters are not at all related to each other, they are both devout Catholics with clairvoyant abilities, not availabilities. Filming took place at the Corin Castle in Hunadora, and in Sighisora. That sounds like a dinosaur.
Yeah.
Transylvania, Romania, and also at Mogosia Palace near Bucharest, Romania. Wow, that was the amount.
I know Bucharest.
That was a lot of words that I'm sure I just butchered, so I'm sorry. While The Conjuring and The Conjuring 2 are both based allegedly true events, this film story is entirely made up by the filmmakers. And after the demon nun from The Conjuring 2 proved to be a popular horror antagonist, a spinoff focusing on the character was greenlit, making her the second character to get her own feature after Annabelle. The Crooked Man from Conjuring 2 will be the third in The Crooked Man.
That's pretty cool. I've been excited for that too, because that's been in talks for a long time.
The Crooked Man's terrifying too.
Yeah.
So, the events take place before Annabelle Creation, making it the first film chronologically in the series. Although the opening scenes of Annabelle Creation take place before The Nun, the rest occurred afterward. So, yeah.
Fun facts.
Little fun facts.
On to the booze. Let's start with the movie. It does seem to be kind of I like that they're trying to develop like kind of a universe of like the Conjuring world and stuff. And now we have all these other, side villains and stuff that can have their own movies. That's super cool. But I will agree with you. There are some aspects of the movie where it does seem not cheap. What's the word? I don't want to say cheap. It could be cheap if that's your opinion. But like they rushed it. Like they really were like, oh man, let's make more money and let's get this out soon. And I feel like if they could have taken a little more time and fleshed out maybe a little bit more of a deeper story to it, it would have been even more like scary. I don't know, because it did seem very like copy and paste, but we're just with nuns from like another type of possession movie or kind of situation. And of course, this movie really relied heavy on jump scares. There's so many jumps, like, we're going to do this now. And then also, for a story being, like, we kind of got, like, this almost, like, vague version of The Nun in The Conjuring 2, where I feel like this one, it gave us a little bit more, but it didn't really give us that much. And then The Nun itself, Valak, it didn't seem like, it was almost anticlimactic at the end when she was defeated, or it was defeated. Yeah. And it almost seemed like, is this all it can do? Like, we're just scaring and then like choking Irene. Like, that was the worst that kind of really happened. Yeah. So it just kind of seemed like the stakes weren't as high as I felt the movie wanted us to feel they were. I did enjoy Thaisa. I thought she was really good as Sister Irene. She was pretty cool. I didn't really care too much about Father Burke, to be honest. And then I thought Frenchie was cool. He was like the comedy in the film that it needed. And I will say, even though I know that it's supposed to be a scary movie, and I know that we're like in a like decrepit old like place, like it was too dark for me. Like it was a little too dark, like lighting wise. I wish there was just a little bit more lighting, not to like show everything in a sense, because they're trying to keep it, spooky and scary. But I don't know. It just kind of like was a bit dark. But
you can turn up your screen brightness and stuff.
yeah. But which I don't have a remote for my TV, the remote it came with, so it's kind of stuck on where it is.
Yeah, so is mine. Mine's just dead.
And so
got new batteries for it.
But yeah, like I just think like, really great concept. Maybe a different storyline would have been cool. But overall, I thought it was kind of a fun horror movie, if that makes sense. It was a little fun.
Yeah.
Like, it felt like a little thrill ride because it's also a very short like possession movie. I feel like a lot of possession movies are usually a little bit longer, like 2 hours or 2:15.
This one was only an hour and 37.
Yeah, it really like it went fast.
Yeah.
So I would probably, out of like 5 boos, I want to say I'd give it a 2.5.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of right hitting in the middle. It didn't make me feel like there weren't moments in the movie where I was like, okay, come on, let's pick up, like, it didn't bore me per se, but it also didn't like awe me.
Yeah.
But that's where I land, a 2.5.
2.5 was where I landed before I even watched the movie.
You were like, already, I'm going to give it a 2.5.
Yeah, I was like, I kind of feel like this movie's a 2.5. And then after watching it, I stand by my original choice. So I think overall it was an engaging enough film. I wasn't bored at any point, like you just said. However, it was, like you said, a little anticlimactic towards the end. And it just... it seemed like there could have been more that Valak did, like, because Valak is such a creepy entity in and of itself, and supposed to be the defiler and stuff like that, and like
very powerful.
Yeah, and I feel like they could have leaned more into the defiler, the profane. Like, nothing about Valak was profane or defiling. Like,
literally, yeah.
I would have honestly liked some Exorcist, like, I'm gonna fuck your mother kind of thing. Like,
yeah. Mommy's with the maggots now.
Yeah. And made it like the Conjuring universe is kind of safe.
I was just thinking that in my head as you just said that. Yes, it feels like they wanted to make like a scary movie where we're using like religious iconography, but like we don't want to like piss any Christians off really that bad. So we're not gonna like go there, but we're gonna give you a little bit of it.
Like, and if they would have even like had Valak like do something almost sexual to Irene, like which could have been trigger warning, but like
that seems more profane. Yes.
Yeah, exactly. Defiling.
Yeah.
And like they should have given Valak a different skill set, basically.
Yeah, I see what you mean.
And
in terms of like their power.
Because the only thing that they actually did was the Marquis of Snakes.
Yeah.
And that was the only.
And that wasn't even through, not even through Valak for the most part. That was all through Daniel.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, technically still
was an extension of Valak.
Yeah, but still, yeah.
But like, and then the one scene of Valak putting the snake into Frenchie's mouth.
Yeah.
But other than that, like, I just wish Valak would have been a little more like what Valak was supposed to be.
Yeah. Because for it to like be a buildup of like it's a spin-off character from another movie, like it should have drove it 10. They should have went a lot harder. Like that's all. They really should have brought it. And then
like, what was this movie rated?
I'll look it up right now, but it gives PG-13 for sure.
Yeah, it does.
And yeah, I will say it's rated R.
Why?
Honestly, I don't know. It's rated R.
Just because of scary faces?
Maybe because of like its religious undertext. Maybe that's why they're like, we'll make it rated R. But I will say the one thing that I did enjoy, I guess, for the movie is I do love a small cast. Like a small, very little, like we had 3 characters. And even at that, Frenchie was kind of out of it for half of it. So we just had basically 2 characters. Well, if Valak's
we had all the nuns.
Well, I would say I wouldn't even count them really. I feel like Valak in itself is a character, but I feel like even the Abbey itself played more of a character than the nuns. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because of the building. But I did like that part. But yeah, overall, I just feel like cool concept. Hopefully, Nun 2, you're going to come at me a lot stronger.
Yeah.
A lot more with some kind of storyline. I just read a little like clickbait thing real fast. And it's like apparently the director is like, this Nun 2 is supposed to bring it even more full circle with like tying it back with The Conjuring and all that. And with Lorraine. So
hopefully they do go into that
so
exorcism then.
Because this one happened in 1952. Nun 1, and apparently the story setting is set in 1956 and 1960 something, so like 2 different years.
Okay, so it could be the
getting there. Yeah,
it could be that exorcism because then
it
was only 20 years later that they were talking about the exorcism,
and it seemed like it had been. I think they even mentioned that like when that exorcism happened and what was going on Conjuring 1, it had been like 7 or 8 years.
Yeah.
So
it could be that, which I would enjoy. I would like to see that. But yeah, the Conjuring universe is safe. And so I feel like we probably won't get anything too hard, but I would appreciate it if they did. That would be cool. I wouldn't mind seeing a Nun like redone where it was more like the original Exorcist with some raunchy stuff in it.
Cross in your
vagina. Yeah. But yeah, overall 2.5 for me. It was not a boring watch. I would still recommend it to people. Like, I think it's still like worth watching.
This is a movie, like that I would recommend to a friend that like doesn't necessarily like scary movies.
Yeah.
Because I feel like for them, like, you know what?
I don't know. Valak's face is a little unsettling. It did also crack me up how every time Valak like used force or power, their mouth like went
wide open.
Yeah, I was like,
like a
silly.
snake, maybe.
But
yeah,
I would have been dope if Valak like could turn into a snake too.
See, that would have been cool. Or like all of a sudden, like
her whole body became
the habit
snakes.
drops on the floor, and then snakes just fall out.
Yeah.
Whoever's.
Come on, Conjuring universe, do better than this.
Nun 2 comes out in a week, but reshoots.
Redo it.
Yeah, I just mean like I feel for like people who don't necessarily like scary movies. This is a good culmination of like just jump scares, really, and a little bit of comedy from Frenchie.
Yeah.
So I feel like it's a good little, but yeah, overall 2.5 from your booze.
2.5 from your boobies.
But yeah, hopefully this got you in the mood for watching The Nun 2 next week. We'll see how it goes. We will probably
It'll
cover
be coming
it some
out
in the
this
future.
week, right?
Yeah, this week. Hello,
this
because we're recording
comes
this
out.
this week, but next week, it's coming out this Friday, you guys. So take your children, take your grandma, grab some tickets, grab a popcorn, and get ready for
hopefully
church.
A good scary time.
Take me to church.
Yeah,
fun times. People could watch it in church. Who knows? It could be educational.
Yeah.
Shouldn't people
learn how to do
exercise?
exorcism?
Yeah. But once again, we're in the lovely Rogue Media Network studio.
That's right. They always take great care of us. And you can listen to us and all the other amazing podcasts that are on this network all in one central place, and that is
roguemedianetwork.com.
And you can also listen to us wherever you get your podcasts, but the biggest 2 platforms are
Spotify
and also Apple. And wherever you do listen, don't forget to
rate, review, like, and subscribe.
That's right, because that is the only way we can get ahead in this world. And make sure to tell your friends and family, tell your grandma as you go watch The Nun 2, tell everyone.
Bring your priest.
Yeah, bring your priest. Tell your priest to listen to us. I'm sure they would love that. They would love us. But yeah, just tell. Word of mouth really helps get us around. And then if you want to let us know what movies you want us to cover for the Halloween season, and why we should watch the Insidious films and stuff like that, please reach out to us on our one social media platform, which is Instagram. And that is at
Boobays Podcast, BOOBAES, because we're your boobays, not your boo babes.
That's right. And we don't know what we're covering next. So it'll be a surprise.
Fun surprise for everybody.
Little spooky surprise.
Yes. And then also Get ready, you guys, for Halloween season. We're going to be, for the month of October, doing a few more drops than usual. Every Halloween season, spooky season, we try to do that for the month of October. So
Yes.
we're excited for all of that. So
We are.
And also taking requests. So yeah, like Caitlin said, please let us know what you want us to watch.
Yes.
And until next time.
Until next time, you guys. Bye, bays.
Bye, bays.
This has been a Rogue Media Network production.